Hey everybody, I'm Brandon72Mo. GTA Online Cunning Stunts DLC has come to a wrap as of August 2nd with the release of the updated Rockstar Creator. That means it's time for me to take a look back and do an in-depth analysis of what this DLC brought, both good and bad, and summarize my impressions. In today's video, I'll be taking a look at all of the vehicles, the new clothing, helmets, and tattoos, the stunt races, the update to the Rockstar Creator, and all of the other stuff from this DLC. So, let's get started. First up, the vehicles. Cunning Stunts brought us 15 brand new vehicles, as well as 4 vehicles that were always in the game but are new to GTA Online. To break it down, there were 3 new supercars, 5 sports cars, 1 compact, 2 off-road trucks, 3 new motorcycles, 3 muscle cars, 1 SUV, and 1 utterly useless Pegasus vehicle. To purchase and fully upgrade all of these vehicles, you'll be spending well over 13 million GTA dollars. And, with a few exceptions, you're not really getting much for your money. The 3 supercars have utterly ruined that racing class, with the RE7B being about 3.5 seconds quicker around the track than an X80 Proto. The same is true for the new SUV, the Contender, which is a full 2 seconds quicker than the SUV that we all just paid $500,000 for about a month ago, the Benefactor XLS Armored. And the off-road category was broken as well by the 2 new trucks, coming in over 2 seconds quicker than the other off-road vehicles, and it gets even worse considering that the BF400 bike can be entered in an off-road race and is 4 full seconds quicker than anything else. And the stunning cunts at Rockstar also broke the compacts class by making the Brioso RA nearly 5 seconds quicker than all other compacts. But it's not entirely bad news for racing. The muscle class finally has some competition against the Sabre Turbo Custom with the introduction of the Pisswasser Dominator. But really, I'm just disappointed that Rockstar doesn't seem to give any thought whatsoever about trying to balance the car classes for competitive racers, and it's doubly disappointing given the racing focus of this DLC. But moving on from racing, I have to hand it to Rockstar to doing a great job in the overall design of these new vehicles. With one exception, the Drift Tampa, every vehicle is really good looking. Granted, most of these cars are still lacking in enough customization options to allow you to truly set your car apart from other players. I really hope that Rockstar gets off their lazy asses in this regard and start giving us more than just paint and wheel options to create a unique design for our rides. I'd rather have fewer cars in future DLC if that means that each of those cars will have extensive visual modifications available. But still, Cunning Stunts brought us a lot of really great looking cars to fill our garages. Now, if only they'd let us buy additional properties to store them in so that we wouldn't have to sell off other cars to make room for the new ones. And that, of course, brings us back to the cost of these cars. While none of them broke the record for most expensive, there are several that will still break the bank. The supercars alone will set you back over 7 million GTA dollars if you buy all 3 of them, and that's before you even get any upgrades. There's also the complete crap MTL Dune that clocks in at 1.3 million GTA dollars. And let's not forget about the Lynx. Sure, it's pretty, and it has a lot of modification options, but given its middle-of-the-pack performance and the value of the real-life car that it's based on, there is absolutely no justification for its 1.7 million GTA dollars sticker price. Many of these cars are clearly driven by nothing other than corporate greed, seeking to milk more of your hard-earned money from you through shark card sales. I've said it before, and it bears repeating. Do not buy shark cards. If enough players refuse to fall prey to this scheme to prop up Take-Two's quarterly profit statements, they will adjust their in-game prices to something more reasonable. But at least returning players get 4 of the cars for free, and I'm still pretty impressed by that. Overall, I'd say that the vehicles in this DLC are really well done. Many have very solid performance, but they are all nearly all way overpriced. Moving on to the new clothing, helmets, and tattoos, we have a lot of great new ways to embrace our inner race car driver. The racing suits are incredibly well done, and I really do appreciate that we can select them for stunt races. The racing suits do push the 100 grand range though, so you're definitely going to feel a dent in your bank account when you buy one. Still, these type of outfits are something that the racing community of GTA Online have wanted for quite a long time, so I'm glad to see Rockstar responding by delivering on those wishes with such solid looking gear. The racing jerseys, the hats, the jackets, the stunt suits, and everything else included in the clothing gives you a lot of options to jump into that racing mindset. I'm rather indifferent about the new helmets, but it is nice to at least see several new options available, even if they are a bit on the expensive side of things. But speaking of the helmets, I really like the ability to flip your helmet visor up and down, even if you do have to hold a button for an incredibly long time to activate it. It's a nice little touch that brings just a little bit more added depth to the game. Yeah, and what racer is complete without some ink on their skin to show their love of motorsport? 50 new tattoos were included in Cunning Stunts, and most of them are incredibly detailed. Overall, it's a job well done on all of the clothing, helmets, and tattoos in Cunning Stunts. That brings us to the stunt races themselves. Now I'll just get the worst part out of the way first, the so-called premium race. Honestly, I believe that the stunning cunts at Rockstar think that we're all absolute morons when they pull shit like this. But Brandon, you may be thinking, you could win 100 grand in those races. And that's right, you can. You pay 20 grand to enter, and if you win, you're gaining 80,000 bucks. But that's a really steep entry fee. Plus, with the 8-player requirement, Rockstar is taking 160 grand out of the in-game economy for entry fees. So each premium race means that the GTA Online economy has 60 grand less each and every time one of those premium races is completed. Again, this is nothing more than a scheme designed to empty bank accounts and sell more shark cards. And it's bullshit. But when it comes to the races themselves, I'm fairly impressed. There are a total of 27 races, and I'd say about 75% of them are actually really well designed, unlike the majority of the other Rockstar created races. These stunt races add a whole new layer to racing in GTA Online, even if they do reinforce poor racing etiquette and practices. By not giving us a non-contact option for stunt races, Rockstar is just giving a nod to every player who thinks the best way to win is to try to knock your opponent off the track. And when it comes to catch-up and Slipstream, these are just horrible features that have plagued GTA Online from the start. Catch-up is just stupid. There's no other way around it. Instead of encouraging other racers to improve their skills to win, the leader of a race is simply penalized by having their car performance restricted. It is such a terrible game mechanic, and it's just an entire order of magnitude worse than the rubber banding effects that can be found in other races. And when it comes to Slipstream, I'm not really opposed to it in theory, but in practice, Rockstar made it way too OP. I hold a real-life racing license, so I know the value of slipstreaming off your opponent to gain a competitive edge. But I also know that Slipstream isn't going to send you slingshotting past another racer as if your car suddenly gained 100 horsepower. Sadly, the stunt races, like all other races in GTA Online, have these two horrible settings turned on by default. But back to the tracks themselves. I am impressed with nearly all of them, and it shows that someone within Rockstar took a lot of time in creating them. Not only are most of the courses laid out really well for their classes, but they also have a ton of great details to the use of props and visual and sound effects. I mean, it's pretty badass to go soaring over a massive jump to the sound of a guitar riff while seeing some fireworks. So my hat's off to Rockstar for adding quite a bit of depth within the stunt races. The stunt races also show another way that Rockstar does, from time to time, actually cater to their players. We've all been in the wall rides, impossible spirals, and other stunt-style races made by players who have been able to glitch together props we previously had available through Rockstar Creator. Now, with stunt races, we can have those sort of races with the props that aren't prone to glitching or only work well with just one car. So once again, my hat's off to Rockstar to giving players a much improved version of something that many people clearly enjoy. Overall, the new stunt races bring a new dimension to online racing, even if they did try to sneak in another cash grab while reinforcing bad racing practices. And that brings us to the recently updated Rockstar Creator that allows players to make their own custom stunt races. I spent several hours the morning it was released making a stunt race. It took a while to get used to how these new props function and work together, but once I got the hang of it, it was fairly easy to put something together that was unique. I didn't release a separate video showcasing all of these new props though, simply because it wasn't something that I felt deserved its own video. That's why you're looking at a run through of all the props now. One thing that I found interesting is that the stunt race props are available no matter what race style you initially select in the creator. A lot of these props certainly have the potential for use in creating truly competitive racing circuits instead of just stunt races. On the downside though, if you place just one stunt race prop into any race, you're locked into having that race published as a stunt race. For me, I thought it'd be a lot of fun to combine the elements of a GTA race with the stunt race props, but you can't do that. Sure, I was able to start out with a GTA race, and I could place all of the weapons and everything as usual. But when I saved and published the race, it was put in the stunt race category, and the weapons don't appear on the track. I was able to go back into the race and change the type back to GTA, but it's still published as a stunt race when I updated the version. So I consulted the PDF that Rockstar released as a basic guide for using these new props, and sure enough, they say using any stunt race prop means you're locked into that race being a stunt race. That's pretty disappointing, and I hope it's something that Rockstar corrects in a future update. These stunt race props could be used to recreate some world-famous racing circuits, but because they'll always lock you into publishing a stunt race, it means we're missing a major opportunity to breathe new life into all racing categories. Still, these new props open up an entirely new world for players to create some truly impressive tracks. As I mentioned earlier in this video, a lot of players have been able to create some crazy stuff before now just by glitching together ramps, crates, and other props that were never intended to be raced on. Now that we have proper racing props and track pieces, I'm really excited to see what the players are going to come up with in their own custom races. I'm sure it'll be better than anything that we've seen so far in the Rockstar created stunt races. There's also a couple of new interesting settings when creating a race. One setting allows you to turn vehicle speed boosts on during a race. Now, right now, that only impacts 2 vehicles, and both of those are bikes in GTA Online. It kinda makes me wonder if Rockstar doesn't have some other boost capabilities coming with future DLC. I'm sure the clickbait bullshit YouTubers will all produce 20 crappy videos full of speculation on that one. You can also toggle stunt RP bonuses and stunt camera triggers. And coming back to a topic that I hit on earlier, you can now disable catch-up by default when creating a race. This is something else that the racing community of GTA Online has been practically begging for, so it's a welcome addition. I hope to see the ability to turn off Slipstream by default in another future update. The original release of Cunning Stunts also brought a fast zoom option to the Rockstar Creator. If you've ever created any race or job in the Creator, then you probably know how utterly annoying it was to wait for the camera to zoom in and zoom out when you're trying to move it around. I mean, the thing moves slower than a glacier, it seemed. There's also a lot more precise control over the exact placement of props through some clever overrides, and you can also turn on a prop snapping that allows you to snap together the new stunt race props with the ease of setting up a Hot Wheels track. Overall, this update to the Rockstar Creator is incredibly positive, even if it does have its limitations, and I commend Rockstar on a job well done. And that brings us to everything else that was included in Cunning Stunts, but doesn't really deserve their own section. The interaction menu received a small makeover, with the style and vehicles receiving their own subsections. Now, if only the style menu could remember my helmet settings between games, it'd be perfect. Being able to save a racing outfit in the style menu is nice as well, since it means that we don't have to overwrite one of the precious few previously saved outfits that we might have for our characters. The stunning cunts at Rockstar also added some new job triggers for adversary modes, stunt series, and premium races. Sadly, these result in annoying in-game notifications that pop up way too frequently unless you set them to hide in the hide options section of the interaction menu. And finally, there's the new Entourage adversary mode. At the time that I'm recording this voiceover, I haven't yet had the chance to play it. I know that Power Play was a welcome change to the usual adversary drivel that we're used to, so I'm hopeful that Entourage might actually be fun. Reading its description, however, makes me think that my hope might be misguided. The Cunning Stunts DLC also brought pages worth of patch notes addressing scores of bugs that were fixed in the game. And hey, this time they didn't claim to fix the crew member bug like they have previously done twice. Maybe one day they'll actually fix it. But overall, the Cunning Stunts DLC is a nice addition to GTA Online. Unlike further adventures in Finance and Felony, I'm not utterly bored with the new game modes after just the first week. We have a lot of great new cars, clothes, and races to take part in, with even more races to come from the community thanks to the update to the Rockstar Creator. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, get subscribed if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below. Until next time, I'm Brendan72Mo, and I'll see you in the next video.